All right, it may have been maybe a fortnight, 3 weeks ago, thereabouts, where Oleksandr Usyk responded to Jake Paul, or certainly it seemed like a member of his team released a statement responding to Jake Paul. Because Jake Paul was talking about, having, his next 5 things he's going to do, go to the moon, become a billionaire, do X, Y, and Z. And one of them was fight Oleksandr Usyk. And Oleksandr Usyk responded to that and alluded to the fact that his boxing career was winding down. He was talking about coming to the end. He spoke earlier this year pretty much that, there's 2 more fights to go, Dubois being one of them, and then an unknown fight. Now, I hate to say it, but we're hearing a lot of talk, well, more so from Frank Warren, about Tyson Fury coming back, which we all kind of knew he would come back, A little bit curious, like that he just decides to sit the whole calendar year 2025 out and then come back in 26. It's just a bit, again, it's just strange. But he's been talking about him coming back, and of course he's mentioned the trilogy fight with Oleksandr Usyk, which he absolutely does not deserve. Doesn't deserve a trilogy fight with Oleksandr Usyk. He's coming in off the back of 2 back-to-back defeats to the man, and Oleksandr Usyk has been doing stuff like beating Daniel Dubois. But nevertheless, right, you think, all right, he's one and done. Regardless of who he fights, I'd like to see him fight the Parker Wardley winner. He's one and done. So I thought. Oleksandr Usyk says that he will not fight Moses Itauma. This is according to the Ring magazine. And intends to fight until he's 41 years old. He does turn 39 in January, so you're talking a little over 2 more years left in the sport. To quote Oleksandr Usyk, this is on an Itauma fight via Fight Ready or via Ready to Fight. He says, "No, I won't fight Itauma. He's young, always teasing me." And he said himself, he doesn't hit grandpaps. "I'll fight until I'm 41, then I'll build a sports academy. I'll train there and train others." That is what they're saying about Oleksandr Usyk there. Now, he has said that before, not about the Sports Academy or about Itauma, but he has said before that he has thought about going on until he's 40, carrying on another few years. He was saying that even, I think, only last year. But then he's kind of backtracked it and said, I'm near the end, I'm this, that, and the other. For me, and I've said this about Oleksandr Usyk before, right? Although the Dubois performance was a very, very good performance, I thought anyway, and it was, clinical how he went about it. He stopped Dubois earlier, and that's a Dubois certainly mentally has improved a lot since the first fight. So, very impressive performance by Oleksandr Usyk. Having said that, he is still 39 years old. He's nearly 40. It's been a long career. It's been a long amateur career. All the training, all the sparring, all that good stuff. It does add wear and tear. It adds miles to the clock. And I just worry now, if Usyk does carry on until he's 41, right? Is that going to be the difference between someone who, in their prime and Usyk's prime, it would have just been an Usyk win, either on points or a stoppage win, no questions asked, fairly straightforward, fairly run-of-the-mill performance. Is that now the difference between him winning and losing? Because there are fighters there that I look at, Adja Kabayel, Joseph Parker, in the top 10, where I look and think, right now, if Usyk is slowing down, and if you say he fights Fury next year, and then has one more fight at 41, or maybe 2 fights at 41, is that the difference between him beating a Joseph Parker and Adja Kabayel right now, or in 2 years' time, is that him losing? Because I would hate for Oleksandr Usyk. Look, at the end of the day, the greatest fighters of all time have lost. Muhammad Ali has lost. Sugar Ray Leonard has lost. The great Roy Jones lost many, many times. A lot of people felt Floyd Mayweather, lost fights. God, his name escapes me, but you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about back in the early 2000s. But you get what I mean. Sugar Ray Robinson lost. They've all lost, right? That's not the problem. But the problem is that if Usyk loses, if he carries on till 41, he could lose to someone he should never have lost to. And people are very quick to throw it, especially nowadays, the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, we lost to this guy. Oh, he was never that good to begin with. You've literally seen people like Simon Jordan, and they've really been disrespectful to Oleksandr Usyk in a sense of, well, they've spoke about AJ and Fury, saying that, oh, well, if you lose to Oleksandr Usyk, it doesn't prove that he's great. It just proves that they're not good. And then again, if Oleksandr Usyk loses, you'll have people like Simon Jordan who'll have a field day with him. No, at the end of the day, if Usyk loses, and I think if he carries on till he's 41, he will lose. Because at the end of the day, this was around about the time, it was roughly when Klitschko was about 38, 39, when you started to see him kind of slow down a little bit. That's when he lost to Fury. He was 40, I think, when he fought AJ. Now, he gave a good account of himself in that fight, and I had him well ahead at the time of the stoppage. But nevertheless, he still lost, I hope that's not the case for Oleksandr Usyk. With regards him saying he won't fight Itauma, I think this is Usyk just, being Usyk. He's a prankster, he's a jokester. I think if push came to shove, he would fight Moses Itauma. I don't doubt that. Itauma has spoken about Oleksandr Usyk in a sense of he feels that he can beat him now. And of course he would say that. But I remember when he fought Dillian Whyte in the ring after, you could tell Itauma was, obviously he's not going to say Usyk beats me or anything like that, but you could tell Itauma was like, no, I'm on my own journey, I'm on my own path. I don't need to be rushed that much, straight into an Usyk fight or anything like that. If they did fight next, I'd make Usyk firm favourite. If they fought in 2 years' time, different story. Don't know what way Usyk's going to look in 2 years' time. Don't know what way Itauma's going to look in 2 years' time. But for me personally, I think that Oleksandr Usyk should stick to his original idea of being kind of one and done. At the end of the day, he became undisputed again. He beat Daniel Dubois. He now has that exemption for the WBO for a certain time anyway. If he insists on fighting next year, which he won't fight this year, it's obviously going to be next year sometime. If he insists on fighting next year, I think that should be it. Just you're done. And at the end of the day, right, Usyk has made generational wealth. Generational wealth. There's no need for him for what, more money? He's got generational wealth as it is. He's already cleaned out, he's undisputed at cruiserweight, 2-time undisputed at heavyweight. What more is there? And you're the first man, I think, in the 4-belt era to do, heavyweight, undisputed heavyweight champion twice. In the 4-belt era, there's never been an undisputed heavyweight champion who's done it twice over in the 4-belt era. I'm sure there will be eventually, but right now you're the only guy. What else is there? What else is there to do at this point for Oleksandr Usyk? One more fight against Fury? I'm done. I've got fatigue on the Fury-Usyk rivalry at this stage because Fury's lost clearly twice and he's been out of the ring for a year. And it's just like, what's the point? You haven't even earned that fight. If you came back this year and say fought the winner of Parker versus Wardley, I'd be saying, okay, maybe, yeah, fair enough. But you're not. You're just going to snap your fingers, I'm back, give me the Usyk fight. I don't want to see that. And I'll critique Oleksandr Usyk heavily for that as well if he does that. Because at the end of the day, you've got the winner of Parker versus Wardley. They're having to sit on the shelf. You're going to have Frank Sanchez potentially fighting Daniel Dubois. What's going to happen? How long is it going to be for them to get a title shot? It's going to hold up the division if you start doing this. So I think for Usyk, it should be one and done. Sail off into the sunset. You clocked the game. You did it. And those belts are going to get fragmented. And let's see at the end of this next generation, which I think will be a lot quicker to get these unifications into this next era. I'm looking forward to seeing who's left standing, if any. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know yours in the comments section below. Until next time, people, if you could, I would appreciate it if you could smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. And yeah, I'll leave it there.